This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Monday, the 24th day of May in the year 2021. I'm Gordon Mosley. Here's what we're tracking tonight. The majority of the more than 1,800 active COVID-19 cases in Guyana are youths between the ages of 18 and 39. Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony today revealed that while more youths are becoming infected, they are the most hesitant to get the COVID-19 vaccines and are therefore lagging behind other age groups when the vaccination numbers are examined. The health minister said he believes that more youths are becoming infected because they are the ones who are out and about the most.
For most of this age group, they might have milder form of the disease. Although we have been seeing a few cases where some younger people are getting infected coming into the hospital, and we've had a few deaths in the age range between 30 to 40. We've had a few deaths, and therefore we want people to also understand that they need to come out and get their vaccines as well. And we want to urge them to make use of the opportunity, because vaccines are available throughout the country if they can come out and get their vaccines so that they can protect themselves.
Based on the Ministry of Health data, more than 65% of persons above the age of 60 in Guyana have received the first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. When it comes to those between the ages of 18 and 39, less than 30% of that population has received a first shot of the vaccine. The health minister said more youths need to get vaccinated to protect themselves and their loved ones.
So I think that people like the idea of being able to drive up. It's very comfortable. You're in the comfort of your own vehicle. And the staff was very proactive in making sure that people felt comfortable. They got the information, then they moved to the next station, and they got their vaccines and they waited for the 15 minutes. We also were able to accommodate those who wanted to walk in. And I think that went well as can be. And so I think from the analysis that was done by the technical staff of the ministry, they felt that this is a very good way of getting people to come out and get their vaccines.
Over the weekend, the Ministry of Health hosted a COVID-19 drive-through vaccination drive. More than 1,000 persons received vaccines. The ministry will host another drive-through campaign at the stadium on Independence Day. That's on Wednesday. Meanwhile, 2 more deaths from the virus have been recorded in the past 24 hours. Since the start of May, a total of 62 persons have lost their lives to COVID-19. More news coming up in just a moment.
I am Anne Green from Director of Children's Services from the Child Care and Protection Agency. I just had my vaccination and I'm encouraging other persons to come out. COVID-19 is really getting serious, so I'm encouraging persons to come out and get your vaccination.
Mobil 1 is more than oil. It's many oils. It transforms at the molecular level. When cold, it's thicker than honey. When hot, it's thinner than water. Mobil 1 adapts and readapts to last longer. 16,000 kilometers between oil changes. That's your engine evolved.
Sol Guyana is the authorized distributor of Mobil lubricants.
At Sosh Financial, we create strategies for strengthening business and personal finances while helping our clients to build sustainable wealth. Our financial and business consultancy services are uniquely tailored to ensure every client receives quality packages and optimal results. Our financial services include financial reporting and analysis, financial status assessment, internal audits, bookkeeping and records management, financial planning advice, tax returns. Our business advisory services are related to business plans, business startups, operational improvement, business management, document preparation, procedures development, efficient marketing. Call or WhatsApp us today for your free consultation on telephone number 592-665-6045. Sash Financial, strengthening businesses, building wealth.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right, walk in upright ways, knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong, be the one to live right.
Mom, what are you doing with GPL on your list?
Child, you forgot I have to pay GPL?
You got time with GPL.
I have to keep these lights on. The customers who think in that manner and refuse to honor their obligation to GPL are obviously not playing their part in ensuring quality service delivery. So, I will continue to pay my GPL bill on time, every time.
I recognize the value of your point, Mom. You were right.
The opposition APNU-AFC, while calling on the government to do a better job at implementing systems to curb the spread of COVID-19, has launched a public campaign to encourage citizens to get vaccinated. Over the weekend, opposition leader Joe Harmon and some of his members of parliament, along with the Region 4 chairman, released a number of public service announcements for radio and TV to encourage citizens to get the jab. The opposition leader said this week the APNU-AFC will be rolling out a number of activities across the country as part of the increased efforts to help in the fight against COVID-19.
In the coming days, we will be rolling out a few activities as part of our increased efforts to help us fight against this deadly virus. Join us as we come together to protect ourselves and our loved ones. None of us are protected unless all of us are protected. Get vaccinated today, protect you, and protect your loved ones.
Region 4 continues to lead the country in new infections and deaths. Region 4 Chairman Daniel Seram said the coalition will continue to host vaccination drives in communities across the regions, which might have been overlooked.
I'd like to urge every Guyanese, every citizen, everywhere, as a matter of fact, to get vaccinated. The COVID-19 vaccines that we have here in Guyana, they do not prevent you from getting COVID. They do not cure you from getting COVID. And if you have the vaccine, you can contract COVID again. But however, what the vaccine does to you, it boosts your immune system. It helps you to have mild effects if you do contract COVID. And it basically lessens your chance of dying from COVID-19.
The regional chairman said it is also important for persons to continue following the COVID-19 national guidelines and to wear those face masks. Admitting that the administration of the COVID-19 $25,000 cash grant initiative was difficult, Vice President Bara Jagdeo has indicated that it is unlikely that the government will offer a second cash grant. During a press conference, Mr. Jagdeo said there were a number of issues during the first exercise, which is still ongoing. He admitted that it might not have gone the way it was expected to go.
The big issue is administration. You know, it took us a long time to go to each home to get the money, the grant given to people. And we had a lot of difficulties too. And I have no doubt that in the country, because there was every family in Guyana we had to go to, that in some cases people may not have gotten the money and they did not get a chance to fill up the pink form because some of them might not have been home, and in some families people lie, in some areas, like they say they're like 4 or 5 persons say they're the head of the household. So we've had a rough time, and the people who are distributing this had to contend with all sorts of things.
The Vice President also said moving forward, the government will be seeking to offer more assistance to those most in need and the more vulnerable groups.
Now we are busy trying to wrap up the first exercise because we still have not completed the pink forms, assessing them and giving those people who are eligible their 25,000. So to go back through such a laborious process, if we had an easier way of administering it, we may be being able to do it swiftly. But we're definitely considering for vulnerable groups, like older folks and others, maybe single parents, that something, because that's easier to administer.
Hundreds of millions of dollars was allocated to the cash grant relief efforts, but there are still thousands of people claiming that they never received the money and have not been provided with any information about if they will ever receive it. In some communities, there were no visits. The cash grant initiative was administered by the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Local Government, and the Ministry of Human Services. The opposition has already called for a full audit. 3 persons died last evening along the Linden-Susdike Highway as a speeding car plowed into them as they sat just off the highway. 2 other persons were injured. The driver of the car is in police custody. He has been identified as a 39-year-old firefighter from Linden. His name has been given as Kevin Bezeth. The man reportedly lost control of the car, hitting the roadside curb and slamming into the persons who were sitting on the side of the highway. The dead persons were identified as 80-year-old Akisa Jerome, 87-year-old Antonio Henry, and 40-year-old Melina Emmanuel. They were rushed to the Linden Hospital, where they were pronounced dead. The 2 injured persons were all taken to the Linden Hospital also. One of them has since been transferred to Georgetown. A breathalyzer test was administered to the driver and found that there was no alcohol in his system. However, persons who were on the scene claimed that the man appeared to have been under the influence of alcohol. The accident took place in the area of Haruni along the Linden-Susdike Highway, and it is under investigation tonight. Well, the Guyana Water Incorporated has called in the police after more than $29.8 million was deducted from the company's accounts and transferred to 2 accounts in the United States. In a statement, GWI said the fraud was unearthed by its finance department during the reconciliation of the accounts for the month of March. It was found that on the 17th of March, just over $17.4 million was debited from the GWI account at a commercial bank, and 8 days later, another $12.3 million was debited from the account. The water company was informed by the unnamed bank that the amounts represented payments that were made via wire transfer in the names of 2 persons who are resident in the United States. The first payment was transferred to Troy Robertson of Brooklyn Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, and the second payment was transferred to Dianera Mohammed of Pacific Street, Brooklyn, New York. GWI's probe of the incident has found that the signatures used on the instruction letters for the 2 payments were forged, and the company said it has never conducted business with the 2 persons named and has never instructed the bank to make any transfers to the 2 persons named. The Guyana Police Force and the Bank of Guyana were informed of the fraud. Investigations are ongoing tonight. In a security alert issued this morning, the U.S. Embassy here in Georgetown reminded American citizens to exercise caution in Guyana due to the current crime situation in the country. The alert from the embassy was published on its website after a visitor to the embassy was robbed in the parking lot across from the embassy in Duke Street. The statement said an embassy visitor, while attempting to park in the visitor's parking lot, was attacked by 2 motorbike riding assailants. According to the embassy, while the assailants did not present weapons, they used physical force to grab personal items from inside the visitor's car. The embassy is encouraging persons who have fallen victim to robberies to report those crimes or attempted crimes immediately to the local police in Georgetown by calling 911. There is growing concern about the crime situation in the country, especially here in the capital city. The Guyana Police Force has been cutting back on releasing information on the daily crime reports for Georgetown.
Hi Guyana, this is Amanzo Walton Desir, your Member of Parliament, and I'm here to encourage each and every one of you to take the COVID-19 vaccine. I have taken my vaccine, and now I know that there are a lot of reservations, and I encourage each and every one of us to research, understand the facts. For me, what I understand is that while taking the vaccine will not prevent me from contracting COVID, if I do contract COVID, it lessens the possibility of me dying, and it lessens the possibility of me suffering long-term effects and complications. And so I want to encourage each and every one of us to get vaccinated today. The sooner we get vaccinated, the sooner we can go outside.
Fuel it up and drive, super 95. Fuel it up and drive, super 95. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive.
Hi, I'm Nias Suban, and I took my vaccine, my COVID-19 vaccine, and I want to encourage everyone who are looking at me right now or listening to me on radio to be able to take your vaccine as well. It is very important that we do that, simply because this is something that is spread by humans to humans, and if it is our action that can only help to stop the spread of this pandemic. So I want to encourage all of you. I spent 50 days in the COVID IC unit, and I documented my story. Many people know what I went through. I saw what others went through, and because I saw and because I know, I want to encourage all of you to take your vaccine. Our collective action can help to stop the spread of COVID-19.
Across the region tonight, in Trinidad, the public health regulations, which were due to expire yesterday, have now been extended to the 4th of July. And the Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, said on Saturday that the government is going to Parliament to extend the state of emergency for 90 days. The Prime Minister made the announcements, noting that the COVID-19 numbers are still too high to relax any of the measures. On April 29, the Prime Minister had ordered a wide-scale lockdown affecting many businesses, including restaurants, bars, casinos, malls, gyms, cinemas, and other places of business. Additional restrictions were also imposed 1 week later, with only essential businesses such as hardwares, supermarkets, and pharmacies being allowed to operate. The restrictions were to remain in effect until the 23rd of May. But during a media conference, the Prime Minister said he'd hoped to be able to lift the restrictions, but the country's COVID-19 situation had not improved, and therefore the restrictions will remain in place. In the British Virgin Islands, the administration will be exploring reports that private companies have been terminating employees who have declined to take the COVID-19 vaccine. Following reports, the government stated that although it is a full advocate for vaccination, persons have the right of choice and therefore the government is mindful of that right. The Premier also said that a statement on the legal findings related to the matter should be expected in a few weeks. The government of Tortola has repeatedly insisted that it will not make vaccination mandatory. However, health officials have encouraged persons to take the AstraZeneca vaccines that are available to help curb the spread of coronavirus in the BVI. And finally tonight, international news. Samoa's first female prime minister was sworn into office in a tent after she was locked out of parliament by her opponent, who has refused to step down. Fiam Naomi Mutafa took the oath of office in a marquee in the parliament's gardens, leaving uncertainty over who controls the Pacific Island nation. The new prime minister arrived at parliament earlier today expecting to be sworn in, but the former deputy prime minister who arrived alongside the chief justice found herself barred from the building, which had been locked by allies of the former prime minister in advance of her arrival. In a statement, her party said democracy must prevail, and there can be no exceptions from the fundamental principle, and those who claim otherwise and act accordingly play with fire. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting and wishing you a pleasant rest of the night. Stay safe